Hi, I'm Eric Miller, and I'm the director of Under the Peach Trees, the story of the Hochstetler family.
And I'm Louis A. Ochoa II, composer for Under the Peach Trees. This is how the score was made. Today we're going to take you behind the scenes on the creative process and show you how the score came to be on the big screen.
And we'll take you through the most pivotal moments that both inspired and challenged us all the way to completing the final product.
Let's dive right in.
So the Lape theme was one of the most important pieces that we needed to nail down kind of first, honestly. And there's some pretty good reasons behind that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing we talked about. It's really a story of, people struggling. And so there's small details that I really wanted to include, like the Dies Irae.
Dies irae, dies illa.
It's not at the forefront to say like, oh, the Lenape are evil. It's more of an undertone.
Exactly.
And because it is that, the music, you have that sense of tragedy. You have that sense of struggle. You have that feeling of almost fear. More than anything, that feeling of longing, wanting peace, wanting tranquility in your life. That idea really came by, say, a score like Horizon, an American saga, directed by Kevin Costner, scored by John Debney. That score, you have the settlers, but you also have the tribes. In the music, there's this shift where you have, say, like this big American sound, and then you have this shift to something a lot more intimate. I wanted to capture the same thing for the Lenape. We talked about how the women have such a dominant role in their society.
Yes.
And so I wanted to include, the female voice and what that plays in. I have an entire choir of just female voices.
Yeah, no, I love that sound in particular, yeah.
It's the sound of wonder, the sound of kind of launching an idea into the air and watching it just float there. And you're sitting there in awe, just thinking, that's cool, that's a cool idea, that's beautiful.
Something else I'm really curious about are the names of some of these songs.
The names,
Can
yes.
you go into what these names are from and what they mean?
They have such a beautiful language. And I just started listening to the way they were speaking, and just to kind of get into that mindset that Jacob Hochstetler was in, being surrounded by people in a world that he just doesn't understand. The one that really set the tone for everything was Matapan. Matapan means an incoming storm, that it's raining. And so Matapan literally translates to it's raining, or there's incoming rain. Within this context, I wanted it to be that there is a storm coming. I actually have an idea within the score that symbolizes that with the timpani. You hear the timpani rolling in and out. And at the end, it just really builds and, strikes as if it's thunder and lightning. The first one that comes within the score, and actually it's the only scene we scored traditionally.
Yes, two picture.
It was the battle scene, or the massacre scene, and that was Nipahui. Nipahui means to go by night. You know, it starts off with an ostinato in the bass drum. Bum, 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 bum. Literally never stops. That kind of was like a war march to the homestead. And you have this pulse that's going and going and going. And they don't stop. It's almost like a sad piece, you know. But the melody with the Lenape is almost like guilty. It's not because they want to, it's because they're being forced to do these things.
Absolutely. So then, aside from the Lenape, of course, this story at its heart is about Jacob Hochstetler and his family. And so we have one particularly long one that is kind of the whole suite for everything.
This was a section that I really struggled with. I completely scrapped, you know, these ideas 3 times.
I remember it took a particularly long time to get these themes out when we were editing the film.
I couldn't get it right, man. You know, and it's 3 themes that ultimately come together and builds the Hochstetler idea. You know, the faith, the family, and the home. During that time, I was struggling with those things. I had a loss in my life. You know, I was feeling lost. I was feeling, you know, very sad. And so part of what really helped me get the emotional side of this music was that experience. When I took a break. During that time, I listened to, it was this worship album that came out like 2 years ago called Moments by Bethel Music, and all the answers came in. I wasn't being honest about my own faith. I wasn't being honest about what family means to me, and I wasn't being honest about what home means to me. And so working with, say, the grace theme, I mean, that's the foundation of it all. That's something I would hear in in worship music or in hymns and stuff like that. And because it is.
It really does. Yeah, it really does sound like that. But you know, something else that I heard in this is some John Williams too.
Yes. And so a lot of, you know, those inspirations, you know, it has to come from somewhere that comes from a similar idea. In this case, far and away. Irish immigrants coming to America and building their home. So that was an idea that I wanted to incorporate for the home theme. I wanted to have this kind of pastoral sound to it. That idea of, you know, excitement. It's a place that you can go to and you know it's safe. And you know what's there. You know who's there. And the home theme, I really wanted to capture that. And then we go into, say, the family theme. The family theme is woven in and out. It can jump in and jump out at a moment's notice.
Ah, yes.
Because the family theme, think of it as a braid. You know, the family theme is the one that's doing all the work, you know, jumping in and out, in and out. And so throughout those 13 minutes, you know, where it's like you have the first half in C or in A minor, the key change, and then suddenly we're in A and things are better. Things are happier, things are starting to resolve. And it's not until the second half that I presented the choir, which ultimately give a final, in a very true statement of the grace theme. Traditionally, we hear the choir in a church, and it has that kind of euphoric sound. Mm-hmm. That was intentional, to be presented by a choir.
Yes, and the choir is one of the parts that I probably remember the most vividly in that piece.
I also wanted to have this kind of divine power, not of authority, but of love. Which has authority. You hear it, and especially when the male voices come in, it has that strength built on octaves and fifths. It's loving. Again, going with what we're talking about, family, home, and faith. You can argue that all those three are based in love. I included an inverted motif of the Lenape theme. This idea is that now the Lenape people are part of, Jacob Hochstetler and his journey, and how, the impact it had on him and the influence it had on the rest of his years. But I wanted to kind of have that falling, that descending passage to kind of give the finale, that this is coming to an end. But when it does end and, we hear the last note, it's not on the tonic, it's not on the A. It kind of comes up here. The family continues to grow, and the people continue to learn about where they come from, and, and who Jacob Hochstetler is, and this incredible story.
So if the people at home want to listen to the score in its entirety, which they should, where can people find it?
People can find it on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on YouTube Music, and SoundCloud.
Well, that's excellent. Well, Luis, it's been such a pleasure to work with you on this. It's been just a privilege to be able to have you on the project, and I hope that people listen to your other music as well. You don't just do my film, you do several other projects as well. And where can people find you to follow you?
They can find me on Instagram under Lasirius Music, and my personal LOUIS 8A, Ochoa.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.